Hey there, 4th grade. I'm going to continue reading Chapter 4 of Superfudge. Here we go. Just as Turtle was finishing, Sheila Tubman came skipping up the street. "I hear you're moving," she said. I nodded and scooped up his stuff. "Good. I was afraid it was just a rumor. I can't wait until you're gone. Then I won't have to smell your yucky dog anymore." "My dog is not yucky," I yelled, tying up the poop bag. "Did you ever smell him, Peter?" "Yes, all the time." "Well, I guess you don't notice because you smell so much. It smells so much like you." She started skipping away. "Hey, Sheila," I called. "Yes?" She turned around. "Stuff it." "Peter Hatcher, you're disgusting." "That's better than what you are," I called, enjoying myself. "Oh yeah? What's that?" she said. "That's for me to know and you to find out." "Ha ha, very funny," she said. "You and your yucky dog are both very funny." "Sicker, Turtle," I said. Turtle growled and then started barking, which was very funny because he didn't know what sicker meant. But Sheila didn't know that he didn't know, so she started screaming and running toward our building. And when Turtle saw her go crazy like that, he took off after her, barking up a storm, thinking it was some kind of game. He pulled his leash right out of my hand, so I had to chase him, calling, "Turtle, Turtle, down boy," because he was already jumping up and down on Sheila, trying to lick her face. Sheila kept on screaming. Finally, Henry came out and asked, "What's going on here?" He pulled Turtle off of Sheila and held him for me. I picked up the end of his leash and patted his head. "It's Peter Hatcher," she said. "He told his dumb dog to sick me, and he did." "He did not," I said. "He did too." "You don't even know what sick means," I said. "I certainly do." "Oh yeah, what?" I asked. It's like giving germs to a person," Sheila said. "The one he sicks gets sick, too." I started laughing. "Did you hear that, Henry? Did you hear what she said?" "I heard," Henry said. "And I want you to keep your dog outside until he calms down." He turned to Sheila. "Come on, honey. I'll take you upstairs first." "I'm so glad he's moving," Sheila sniffed. "I hope he never comes back. There should be a law." I left all the way to the corner. I think Turtle did, too. On the morning of the move, Mom woke me up at 6 o'clock. I had to pack my carton of special things, but first I wanted some juice. I was always thirsty first thing in the morning. On my way to the kitchen, I passed Tootsie's crib. She was watching her mobile and gurgling away. She was also covered with trading stamps. They were stuck to her arms, her legs, her belly, and her face. She even had them on the top of her head, and one pasted to the bottom of each foot. "Hey, Mom," I called. "What is it?" "It's Tootsie." But I didn't wait for her to finish. "Hurry up, Mom," I called. Mom raced in, buttoning up her skirt. "Oh, no," she said when she saw Tootsie. Then she shouted, "Fudge!" "Hello, Mommy," Fudge said, crawling out from under Tootsie's crib. He was wearing his disguised black eyeglasses frames attached to a rubber nose, with a stick-on beard and mustache. He sent away for it months ago. It cost 4 cereal box tops, plus 25 cents. Did you do that to Tootsie?" "Yes, Mommy." He was using his best little boy in the world voice. "Why?" Mom asked. "Tootsie told me to." He climbed up the side of her crib and reached in, shaking Tootsie a little. "Didn't you tell me to? Good girl. Good little baby." Tootsie said, "Ah," and she kicked her legs up in the air. "That was a very naughty thing you did," Mom told Fudge, "and I'm very angry at you." Fudge kissed my mother's hand. "I love you, Mommy." "That's not going to work today," Mom told him. "I love you anyway," he said, kissing her other hand. "You're the best Mommy in the whole world. Don't you love your little boy?" "Yes, I love you," she said, "but I'm still very angry at you. Very." And she smacked Fudge on the backside. He pouted for a minute, about to cry. Then he changed his mind. "Didn't hurt," he said. "You want one that will hurt?" Mom asked. "No." "Then don't you ever think about doing anything like that again. Do you understand?" "Yes." "Hey, Mom," I said. "I thought you didn't believe in violence." "I don't, ordinarily," Mom said, "but sometimes I forget. Look, it's okay with me if you want to spank Fudge," I said. "Personally, I think a spanking a day would be good for him." "No, no, no," Fudge shouted, holding his rear end. "Why'd you really do it?" I asked him. "I want to trade her in for a two-wheeler, like yours," he said. "You can't trade her in," Mom said. "She's a person. She's not a book of stamps." "She looks like a book of stamps," Fudge said. Mom picked up Tootsie. "Well, she doesn't." Fudge asked again and again. I could tell Mom was trying hard not to laugh. You know something, Fudge? I said. You're off the wall. You are really off the wall. Off the wall, he sang, dancing around Mom and Tootsie. Fudge is off the wall. Tootsie laughed. Either that or she hiccuped. It's hard to tell the difference. I followed Mom into the bathroom where she set Tootsie in the sink. 2 years of trading stamps down the drain, I said. Goodbye, stamps, Fudge called from the doorway. Goodbye, goodbye. I'm not going to save stamps anymore, Mom said. I'm going to find a grocery store that gives away something else. An hour later, Dad came back with the U-Haul, and we loaded it and were on our way. As soon as we were through the Lincoln Tunnel, Fudge started singing. M-A-I-N-E spells Princeton. No, it doesn't, stupid, I said. It spells Maine. I know, Fudge said. I'm just making up a song. Maybe you can make it up in your head, Dad suggested, and sing it to us when we get to Princeton. Then it will be a surprise. A surprise? Fudge asked. I like surprises. He was quiet for a minute. Then he said, You know what, Daddy? I'm off the wall. Who told you that? Dad asked. Peta. Didn't you? He asked. Yeah, I said it. I sure did. And you sure are. I'm off the wall, Fudge repeated. Just like Peta. Just like Peta's map of the world. He rested his head against Mom's shoulder, and I could hear him slurping away on his fingers. He was still wearing his disguise. Okay, chapter 5. It's called Small Ones Are Sweeter. Our house, that is, Millie and George's house, is so old that the bathtub stands off the floor on legs, and the hot and cold water don't come out of the same faucet. When you're washing your hands, you either freeze them or burn them. Mom said you're supposed to put the plug in the sink and mix the water in the basin, but that's a lot of trouble. At least we don't have chamber pots. The toilet's actually flush. Outside the house is painted yellow and shutters are white. The windows and doorways are slightly crooked. Dad said it's part of the charm of the house. I know better than to tell him what I think. Inside, the floors are wooden and they creak when you walk on them. Downstairs, there's a living room with a piano and a dining room with a table so big you have to shout to make yourself heard. A kitchen with pots and pans hanging all over the place, and a library where the walls are lined with books, arranged according to color. There's a brown leather section, a green leather section, a red leather section, and a tan leather section. Upstairs, there are 4 bedrooms all in a row, and everywhere you look, there are fireplaces. There's one in every room. There's one in the living room, another in the dining room, and still another in the library. There aren't any in the bathrooms or kitchen. My mother and father call the house fantastic, fabulous, unbelievable. I hear them talking to their friends on the phone, and those dumb words they use to describe this place. Our neighborhood is a lot like our house, old. Every house on the block is a lot like this one, with a small front yard and a big backyard. In our backyard, we have George's rose garden and Millie's herb and vegetable garden. The first day we were here, Dad bought a stack of books with titles like Know Your Roses, Know Your Herbs, Organic Vegetables and You, and my favorite, The Agony of Beetles in Your Garden. You didn't have to worry about beetles in New York, did you, Dad? I said at dinner. That's enough, Peter, Dad said to me. That's enough, Peta, Fudge repeated. Cut that out, I told him. Cut that out, he said back to me. Fudge's new game is repeating everything I say. He's really driving me crazy this time. Pass the salt, please, I said to Mom. Pass the salt, please, he said, laughing. I pushed my chair back. I can't take it anymore. I mean it. Do something, will you? I begged my parents. But he was already at it. I can't take it anymore. Do something, will you? And he laughed so hard he choked. Dad turned him upside down and whacked him on the back. I want you to stop doing that, Fudge, he said. Do you understand? I don't know why my parents are always asking him if he understands. He understands just fine. That has nothing to do with it. Fudge nodded. Because if you don't stop repeating everything that Peter says, I'm going to do more than just whack your back. Get it? I couldn't help but smile. Oops, sorry. Mom has this thing that's called a snuggly for carrying Tootsie. She hangs it around her neck, and Tootsie fits into the right side and fits into it and rides right next to Mom's middle. It looks very comfortable. Sometimes Dad carries Tootsie in it too. Mom says they didn't have them when I was a baby. I missed out on a lot of good things. Every night after supper, we walk into town, stopping at Baskin Robbins for ice cream. One night, Mom asked if I would like to wear the sling and carry Tootsie. No thanks, I said. I wouldn't be caught dead wearing a baby around my neck. Oh, Peter, you're so silly. Baskin-Robbins is having a contest. They're looking for names for a new ice cream flavor. So far, I've suggested lemon lunatic, crazy chocolate, and miserable mint. After almost 2 weeks of hanging around the house, I actually met a kid my age. He lives across the street, and he was at scout camp when we first moved here. His name is Alex Santo. He's going to go in the 6th grade too. He's very small with hair that hangs into his eyes, and he's always wearing a t-shirt that says Princeton, class of 91. By the time I met him, I was so lonely and bored, I wouldn't have cared if he had 3 heads as long as he was my age and wanted to be friends. Alex came over one morning and said, "You want to go into business with me?" "What kind of business?" I asked. "Worms," he told me. "Worms?" I asked. "Yeah, worms," he said again. "Worms?" Fudge said, jumping down the front steps. "Wormy, wormy worms." Alex looked over at him. "Don't mind him," I said. "He's just my little brother." "Oh," Alex said. "So what do you say?" "Sure," I told him, having no idea what worm business was. "When do I start?" How about now?" Alex asked. "Okay, what do I do?" "First we dig them up, then we sell them to Mrs. Mulder down the street. She pays 5 cents a worm." "What does she do with them?" I asked. "She doesn't say. Some people think she uses them for fishing. Other people says she uses them for her garden. Personally," he stopped and scratched his head. Go on. "I think she eats them," Alex said. I thought for a minute. "Worm pie?" "Yeah, a new worm stew, a new worm juice, and worm soup," I said, getting warmed up. "And worm bread." "Oh yeah, that's the best," Alex said. "Nice soft bread with little worms here and there. You can make a really tasty worm cheese sandwich too," I said. We were doubled over now, laughing our heads off. "And worm ice cream," Fudge said, jumping on top of us. "Worm ice cream," Alex and I said together. I decided that with Alex Santo in my class, Princeton might not be too bad. That afternoon, Alex and I went digging for worms. We rode our bike over to the lake. It's an easy ride into Princeton because we have bike paths on every street. Alex had a pail and a couple of shovels, and we got to work. Finding worms was no problem. An hour later, we rode back to my house. "Mrs. Mortar likes her worms clean," Alex told her, running on our hose. "That figures, if she used them for cooking," I said. We left the pail of worms outside and went in for a drink. When we came out, Fudge was standing next to Tootsie's carriage, dangling a worm in front of her. "Cut that out," I yelled, racing over to him. "Why? She likes it," Fudge said. "Watch." Alex and I looked into Tootsie's carriage. She laughed every time Fudge held up a worm. "You're right," I said. "She does like it. Hey, Mom, look at this." "What is it?" Mom called from where she was weeding Miss Millie's organically grown vegetables. "You got to see for yourself," I called back. She came over, wiping her hands on her jeans. "Watch, Mommy," Fudge said. And he took the worm from behind his back and dangled it over Tootsie's carriage. She smiled and gurgled. But Mom screamed, "Get that out of here! Hurry up! Get rid of it now!" "It's just a worm, Mommy. Don't you like worms?" "No, I don't. I really don't like worms at all. And I never want you to show me another one. Do you understand?" Fudge put the worm on his arm and let it crawl up his shoulder. "See? Isn't he cute? I'm going to call him Willie. Willie Worm. And he'll be my very own pet. I'm going to sleep with him, and he can eat next to me at the table, and he can take a bath with me. Fudge!" "Yes, Mommy. I told you I don't want to see that worm again, and you may not bring it into the house. And you may not hold him that close to Tootsie. Do you understand me this time?" "You really don't like worms?" Fudge said. "That's right," Mom said. "I really don't." "Why not?" Fudge asked. "It's nothing I can explain." Mom went back to the weeding the garden. Fudge followed her. "Is your family always like that?" Alex asked. "You haven't seen anything yet," I told him. On our way to Mrs. Mulder's house, I thought I remembered reading that worms regenerate when you cut them in half, but I wasn't sure. So I asked Alex if he ever tried it. "Sure," said Alex, "plenty of times." "And what happens?" "Nothing. You get 2 little worms." "Right. And if Mrs. Mulder pays you 5 cents a worm," a slow smile spread across Alex's face. "I see what you mean," he said. "How come I never thought of that?" I didn't answer. We dumped our worms on the sidewalk and cut all but one in half. The one was big enough to cut into thirds, so now instead of 16 worms, we had 33. Mrs. Mulder lived in an old house that was painted gray with blue shutters. Alex rang her bell. A big round woman with hair the color of her house and glasses halfway down her nose came to the door. And I'm going to stop on chapter 4 until next time. Bye, guys.